Hey, well, I'm Dr. Cheryl Clarke,
And I'm Dr. Gregory Clarke.
and I want to welcome you. We want to welcome you to our first episode here on the new, I would say, our new podcast here. I want to welcome you here to our podcast here. I'm Dr. Cheryl Clarke, and this is Dr. Gregory Clarke, and so we're going to be coming to have real conversations.
And real people.
Really. No. Well, look, that's our first blooper right there, right? That's our first blooper. So we have a real conversations with, and then we decided that we're gonna have real talk, real conversations with as we
About real people.
Oh, you know what? This is Dr. Clarke.
About real people.
It is about real
And
people.
now, when you start to really think about, all of the iterations that we have shared over time, you start to think about, this podcast is really some place to have an expression, have some dialogue, and to be as expressed as possible. And we're going to have fun. We're going to have teaching. We're going to have opportunities to delve into some of our great books, especially Power of the 4 A's. And, we're going to have an excellent time. And so, join us each and every time that notification pops up to say they got a new episode on. And you see that notification pop on, it means become a subscriber to the YouTube channel simply our handle is Greg and Cheryl Clarke with an E. Don't forget the E.
Don't forget the E.
Don't forget the E,
because you won't hit us. So we're changing the conversation, and when you change, we notice that when you change the conversation, you change the relationship. So on here, you're going to get us to have real talk. We're going to have real tools for real life, and that's what we're
for
about.
Real people.
And for real people, because the opportunities are also very, very, very much so. Where it starts, we all start with some type of communication, some type of conversation, and where does it go left? So this specific episode is, why do we keep having the same arguments?
Why do we keep going, staying on the merry-go-round? Staying on that same merry-go-round.
So as we moving forward, have you ever, I just wanted to give you this one question. Have you ever finished an argument?
Ever.
You apologized.
Uh-oh.
You promised to do better.
Come on.
Right? And then you found yourself having the same argument over and over
now,
again.
Fellas, when they keep doing the exact same thing over and over again, we just have to work with them. But as we start to recognize, what's so powerful about that question is that when we are, and it goes on both ways, so I'm not going to put that on the ladies. Us men, we can be out there and we can be doing some things that we keep doing the exact same thing, and we're wondering why we're getting either the same response because we're having the same argument, or we keep reiterating that same particular area. And so when you start to understand, there are times, men, I'm talking to the fellas out there, sometimes we do put ourselves in a space that we create those atmosphere.
Well, I don't want to say that because it's both of us.
It's both
so
of us?
It is because we do have the same arguments that do happen, and we do happen. So it's like it keeps happening. It may be over money, it may be over the dishes, it may be over the kids, it may be over, family, whatever it is. It may be it may be over scheduling. So it may be over a plethora of things. Yes, especially we can have a plethora of conversations about this. So what we're going to do today on this episode, we had a couple of questions that came to us, and so we're going to be addressing some of the things that can possibly you can recognize. You may be able to recognize it. Maybe you're in a pattern. Maybe you're in this loop, and the tools that we can give you to support your relationship. And then also you can be able to open up this dialogue for one another and say, am I in a conversation loop, or why are we still having these same arguments?
And on top of that, just as an opener, you want to recognize that we're going to come from different realms of experience. I come from being an educator. I come from being a minister of the cloth. I come from being a master life coach that deals with relationships. And I love to work with individuals and see their definitiveness as they continue to develop when I work with them. And I know Dr. Cheryl Clarke comes from the realm of psychotherapy because she is a
I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the New York City area. And I also have a platform called Speak Your Power Now, where I'm better known as the voice actor, where I help women to heal their voices so they can begin to speak more powerfully in the world. And I know that Dr. Clarke has the comeback
Conversations with
conversations.
Dr. Clarke that happens, most opportunities. So, other than following us here, you have the opportunity to also follow us on our respective separate channels because we're growing the conversation, we're growing the possibility, but we just want you to understand so it doesn't feel like, so, wait a minute, why is he coming from one realm and she's coming from another realm? We have two different opinions, even though we're coupleized, we're a couple, but we're going to share from a realm where it's going to be powerful because she's going to have her point of view. I'm going to have my point of view. And somewhere in the middle, you're going to be helped by it. So
Yeah.
what's the first question?
So, and not even a question. I just wanted just to talk a little bit about how we can begin to see how when we, like Dr. Clarke said, we melted our professionals and stuff like that. But we wanted this real talk about how the tools have helped us. And we do mention our books. We have two over here.
Now, how did it help us?
Yeah, but let's tell them why we have the two. Because we recognize that they're faith-based, it's not for everybody, but we have two different two different perspectives here in that regard. So then you, if you're watching and say, I don't want that faith-based, community or faith-based, whatever. So we have two different ones that we just want to show you that you can get. And when we go through it, so Dr. Clarke, this is the first one that we first came out with.
Yes.
It's called The Power of the Four A's, and this is the book that it has no faith-based scriptures or anything in it, and it really follows you through. This is what it is: the Power of the Four A's. And we'll get into a little bit about why we had to have this conversation about this book.
And this one is the remix. The remix. Now, this one, when we remix it, we start to add certain, scripturals, and the reason for that was that we decided at that time to add some extra flavor for those of you who want some of the canon in your thoughts. And so when we start to recognize that the greater possibility of making that remix, but it's not that one is better than the other. They both work intimately great for each other, and it's just always your choice. Whatever your cup of tea is. It's always good to have different cups of tea.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Now that we have that. If you wanted to go get that, that's fine. So let's get
Amazon. Go to Amazon.
No, GregandCheryl.com, just a matter of whatever it is, you can get that book. You can go ahead and do that right away. All right, so this is what couples usually say to us. And Greg, when you say we keep arguing about everything, and oftentimes we hear that, but we hear it maybe a little differently. Sometimes we hear, we keep arguing about everything. Do you really argue about everything?
No.
And you may have to ask yourself this question, because emotionally, when we have these arguments, right? One person may be saying one thing, the other person may be saying one thing and the other thing, and then there's something, and it's not even about the thing.
Well, what's so funny about when I hear that statement is that most times what the argument or the essence of the argument is about has nothing to do with whatever occurred. It could be some sort of background noise. It could be something that may have occurred. It could be the lack of intimacy. It could be a plethora of things that starts to bring into play. But then when you start to really unearth and really dig deep down into it, you start to see that, wait a minute, are we really arguing about dishes, or is it about something else? And then when we start to get to that something else, that's when we can get to the heart of the matter to allow for the opportunity for the conversation or the argument to actually end.
You know what? Also, what we found out also is that people really think about, do I really matter to you? What I'm saying, does it really matter to you? Do you hear me? So, prime example, we always come real. Today, there's always something in our relationship. Today, I said to Gregory, I said to Clarke, I said, because Clarke usually uses my car to take it to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Clark
This is
today,
good.
and I said in the bed, I said, I'm taking
Putting up the
my,
church finger.
wait a minute, let me finish it. I'm taking my car today. I'm going to use my car. I'm going to go back. Erin, I'm taking my car today. Not know the framework. So then I go downstairs. And we talked about something else. I go downstairs. My car is not in the garage.
No, it's not.
So I called Clark and I said, I said
Church
to you that I am using my car today? And then you said,
she did not say that.
Okay.
We had a moment before I was leaving our bedroom, because usually, because that's one of the things, you start to have those areas where you make sure that you compromise. So my wife does not like me to leave the house without at least me acknowledging her and giving her some affection. Not leave the house without acknowledging your spouse. To and grab something before I leave the house. So as we were having that interaction, she said nothing about her car, because if she would have, now it's understandable.
Wow.
It's understandable. Sometimes we can have something so trapped in our mind, which is a great story and a great statement, and sometimes we may not articulate it. So anyway, if she would have said that, now see, this is where you're gonna get the different perspectives. Now, if she would have said that, I would definitively went into my car and went about my business, because we have had past conversations about that. Especially if I know that she is going to step out, because she tells me all the time she doesn't like to drive my car. She said my car can act a little too powerful, or whatever the case may be. I got it. If I know I'm just going to the gym, which is probably not even 2 miles away from the home, I can respect the fact that, she's gonna jump and go run some errands. I know she doesn't like my car. I can easily jump in my car. This morning when she called me, I was like, oh, this is nice. She knows I'm at the gym, and she called me, and all of a sudden she's like, didn't you know I was going to take my car? Didn't you know I says, no, I didn't. No, that wasn't ever expressed. If that was expressed, I believe in me. If that was expressed, I would have left your vehicle.
Okay, so let's pause right there. There's a couple of things that Greg or Clark said in this way. He says, you never said that. I know that I said it, but am I going to continue on that loop that you're in? Am I going to continue on the loop that I feel like he didn't hear me, or whatever the case may be? Now he could continue on that loop that, oh, you never said that, or whatever. This is the point. Why do we keep arguing? Why do we keep arguing with someone? We have to stop the loop. So in this regard, I know in my head, he did not do it on purpose. Because like he said, had I heard her say that, I would have not taken her vehicle. And I know that to be true. But at times in our relationship, we tend, now a couple of years ago, that would have really had a big argument. Because what that is that, oh, you don't hear me. You don't listen to me. You're this, that. You want to do what you want to do. And this is the thing. This is the thing. The argument that we're talking about has nothing to do with him taking my car.
No.
It has all to do with him or she not feeling heard.
He or she
not feeling heard. And that is what we hear a lot about in relationships, when we don't feel heard in the relationship. So what happens to you when that happens? You check out.
You are triggered. No, you are triggered.
Yes.
And the reason why you so triggered, because at that moment it starts to bring back all of the different possibilities. See, one thing about that we both can agree upon, the mind is a meaning-making machine. And all of a sudden, the same way that I can go into my particular realm and be in this assumption like, oh my God, no, that's it. And then she has the right to her opinion. But somewhere in the middle is where it's going to be, to create that love of compromise and peace for the relationship. And so our minds at times can create something based upon what occurred, and you can't change what occurred. All you can do is deal with the now. So one thing I got to give my wife props about is that before that could have went, we could have been getting into a back and forth and a back and forth, and it doesn't benefit her, doesn't benefit me. Next, I'm working out a little bit, angrily, and she's storming around. She could be potentially storming around. He just took my car, and I wanted to get my.
And so this is where you get into that natural point where we talk about to describe that, when we talk about the pursuer and the pursuer and the distancer. Then you continue to go ahead and back and forth. You got to nourish the conversation. Where's this conversation going?
And those roles, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but those roles at times will reverse. Because sometimes she can be the pursuer and I could be the one that's being reluctant. But at times, and now I have to play the pursuer and she's the one being reluctant because she may have felt wrong. And so it can go both ways.
And then what starts to happen? The shutdown, the silent treatment, the withdrawal, the over-explaining, all of that starts to come down. And as I want to put a little thing in here, that is happening in our nervous system. And our nervous system begins to say, okay, I feel danger happening. And it's not really a threat, but what it is that
you feel in danger.
You feel like, so our nervous system cannot tell the difference between, and thank you for showing me up. The nervous system can't tell the difference between danger and I'm not a threat or just a regular excitement. So fear and excitement has the same type of.
That's true, because when they talk about people who love to go see horror films, that same endorphin or possibility that gets stimulated, and it's not that like, oh my God, you're into, no, it's not that. It's not that the people are into slasher films, no, but people
it's like
enjoy
roller coasters. Like you love like the fear. It's the same. You have to. If you look at the pictures when you come down and you take the picture, and the same picture's like. And look at my face. He's like this. I'm horrid. And he is like, yeah.
Let's go again.
But it's the same type of thing that's happening in our bodies. So the body has, the body is like reacting to this endorphins, like Clarke said. And when we're understanding what is actually happening is that you're reactivated. So then we have to nurture these conversations, and these conversations that we're nurturing is important for us to understand, oh, I love this dude. And he, we've had this conversation. Yeah, do I get annoyed? So you know what? I got my behind his Mercedes. I don't like driving this car, but I drove it. I wasn't going very far. I know I wasn't going very far. I needed to go and do something. I did it. I came back. I beat him back home. If I would have waited for him, then I would have been annoyed. And I'm saying I had to weigh the conversation. And this is a tool we're going to give you.
You get the 6-7.
Yeah, the kids say 6-7. You don't even know what it means, right?
Now they talk about
yeah. So now
6-7. No,
yes. Anyway. So when you're looking at couples and how now, I don't think we said it, but we're parents of six beautiful, beautiful human beings, and we've been married for over 30 years now. We made 31 this year, and I've changed over, I don't know about how many times in my body of who I am. And I think Dr. Clarke has too. If you go look at him, he's half of the size that he was before, even him.
True.
And understanding who you are is moving through that area of life and understanding, we was on the brink of divorce, but we had to learn some tools along the way. And the first tool was acceptance.
So when we think about those conversational cues and, when we really think about that aspect of how we ended up in the Power of the 4 A's and how the book was manifested, that was during our season of discovery. And one of the things that you start to recognize about those seasons of discovery is that you can get boggled down on things, or you can recognize how to grow from things. And by us turning what was potentially pain into something that became a purpose, now that becomes even much more attainable, because now we're recognizing how to utilize some of the tools that are in our respective books and how you can be, how shall I say, affirmed and assisted by, these conversations that we're having.
So the one thing we want to just leave you with, okay? So if you have to say this to one person, like the facts, if you like something happened in the relationship, and you got to understand, you got to take accountability. You got to take accountability for your part, because the facts are not, your facts are different than his facts. My facts can be different from everybody else's facts. So we just want to look at what's going on, right? So the better question is, instead of you saying what happened, it's also what you're going to tell yourself is, what did I tell you? What did I tell myself? What does it mean to me? Because what they said or what they did has a meaning to it. Like Dr. Clarke said, he said, our minds have a meaning making machine. And what does it mean for my relationship? What is it going to be? If I need this relationship to work, what does that mean? And having that opportunity.
And so many times, going back to the mindset or the mind being a meaning making machine, we can end up taking something that was so small as a disagreement. Now, you're going to have plenty of disagreements in a healthy relationship. So listen to what I'm about to say. You can have a disagreement, but don't be having angst or anger or being where you're almost like Tom and Jerry in each other. You don't have to get to that point, but you will disagree. You may disagree from the minute things to the things that are extremely major. But if you keep the lines and realms of communication open, you start to understand how those things can be fixed, worked through, and great possibility.
So what we want to give you a couple of things that you can walk away with today.
Well, a couple of things.
The first thing is that awareness. That's just being aware of the important thing that you have to understand that it needs. Be practical when you are talking about this, and do not take it so far. Just be aware. The second thing you're going to do is pause.
Always.
You have to pause.
Take that moment.
Pause. Slow up the conversation.
Think.
Slow it down. Pause. Do not punish. You're going to be punishing yourself and punishing others if the silent treatment, if you disappear and you refuse to return. Tell them when you're going to return. Okay.
And also, the pause accentuates the fact that you're giving yourself the opportunity to think. And the reason why thinking is so important, because at times we can allow our emotions to get the best of us, and all of a sudden, like wait a minute, why am I responding like that? Did I really allow my emotion to overtake my ability to think? So when you do the pause, number 2 is important. When you do that pause, you give yourself that opportunity to, like, wait a minute, let me really assess before I say. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, when you take that pause, like, wait a minute, I was about to say something, and I recognize I don't have to say that. Or it may not even be beneficial to say, and is it even worth saying? And all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me the pause can probably help the argument not get even broader and deeper because you took that momentary pause? So number 2 is good. So what's number 3?
2, you have to name it. So actually, if you're in a safe space, and sometimes this may not work for couples that not them feel safe in their relationship, and that's another thing. But in the relationship, when you're actually feeling something, you can actually say, what I actually feel is you've dismissed me. I feel dismissed, or I feel overwhelmed. I feel afraid, whatever that is in that moment. Because there was a time that I wasn't saying that. I was saying it in a very, in the moment when all clear, I feel dismissed. And sometimes it takes some time for you to understand that. Okay.
And the naming process is so powerful because now that you can articulate whatever the feeling is or whatever the circumstances or whatever that particular moment is. Mm-hmm. Now we're not fishing to say, okay, what is it? Could it be this? Could it be that? By naming it, now you're claiming it, because you're claiming it not from the space of saying that that's what you desire to be, but you're claiming it to say, okay, we know what it is. Okay, now we can deal with it, because now we're not looking about, so, do I think it's this? Do I think it's that? Is it tomato? Is it vanilla or chocolate? No. We named it. So now that we named it, we know how to work through it. And what is number 4?
The last one is the request. What is it that you need right now? What is it that you can finish with? How can we take you? I need 15 minutes. I need a moment that you could begin to ask for that request. And you know what? Let me just say something about the request. The request is not a demand. The request is not a demand. We have to distinguish that, because sometimes you could be demanding something of your partner that they can't give you.
Or what makes it even worse about the demand, the demand is so finite, because now it's like, You better do this, or you better. It's like, whoa. There's a difference of saying, if I walk up to my wife and says, "Hey, babe," or if I walk up to, "Hey, babe." Now think about that. The "Hey, babe" was in the same space. One was a little bit enduring. One was a little bit more loving. One was a little bit more.
Well, let's show them, because right now we could just say that, right? Like you could say this. We had a little something here.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's my favorite line.
That's not true.
That's not true. We're not going to do that.
Yes, it is. That's not true.
We can show them.
That's not true. See, I don't even know how to roll my head.
I'm talking about.
That's not true.
I'll start with the version of the pattern.
That's not true.
You never listen to me.
That's not true.
Every time I bring something up, you shut down.
And that's not true. That's it. That's not true.
We can't even do the straight face. We can't. Let's seriously. Let's help them out. Let's help them out. You never listen to me, Clarke.
That's not necessarily true. It's not that I don't listen to you. Is that I don't believe I heard when you said that, not to dismiss you, but I don't believe I heard you say that.
Yeah, but I did say that.
That's what you believe you said.
Okay, now you're going left.
I'm not. This is part, and this is what's so great about this is that we're sharing it to you in real time. No,
I was going to finish it because because I was going to finish it to call.
We got to be real.
No, that is real. So now say that what you said to me again.
That I don't believe that I heard you say that.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to change the conversation right now because I believe I did say that, and you have your belief and I have my perspective. So I'm going to change the conversation right now, and we'll come back to that. So what happened is that you see how we finished that because it was going somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I stopped it in between, but I wanted to show you how we can interrupt these conversations because Clarke really thought he heard me say that, didn't hear me say that. Mm-hmm. I said that. We can keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
And we're showing you how to close the loop.
Close the loop. Close the conversation. How many times we leave it ling out there?
Uh-oh. She's going to get ice cream. Mm-mm. I just don't know.
That wasn't the Mr. Softy truck.
Yes, it was the. Oh no.
No, Mr. Softy.
No, that was. Papacito, get your icy.
Go get. Well, we're gonna boogie down.
Coquito. I'm talking about the icy man. The icy man.
I want.
That's what I'm saying. See, if those of you who make good coquito, especially my boricua, she'll hook you up. Or she'll probably be looking for you in Christmas time.
Well, we're gonna end it here. We want to thank you so much for showing up, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because guess what? We are starting this because we are out here helping to begin to change the conversations, because we believe when we change conversations,
we change the relationship. And also, I will ask you, if you're watching us and you made it this far, leave some comments. Yes. We desire to hear what
Dr. Clarke reads your comments. He reads your comments and he responds.
Now, look, feedback is the fuel of power, and we are powerful. The power of the 4 A's.
You know what? I like it. I like the way you ended that. All right. Until next time, I'm Dr. Cheryl Clarke.
Dr. Gregory Clarke.
And we'll see you, because we're changing conversations, because relationships needs to be changed.
Excellent.